Hey fifth graders, we're going to go ahead and take this one step further, subtracting mixed numbers with regrouping when we have unlike fractions. Now this is really only going to add one more step, and the additional step to our regrouping is that we will need to create common denominators first, because remember, when adding or subtracting fractions with unlike denominators, your first step is to create common denominators. It's very important. That's forever and for always. If you ever have unlike denominators and you're adding and subtracting, you need to create common denominators first. Then we're going to go ahead and use our regrouping skills if needed to perform the subtraction with the fraction pieces. Now remember, when we're dealing with mixed numbers, we want to add and subtract the fraction pieces first, then add and subtract the whole number pieces last, because we might need to be borrowing from our whole numbers. So let's take a look at an example. So I have 4 1/5 minus 1 2/3. So let's break this up into our whole number parts and our fraction parts. So we have 4 here, 1 here, and my fractional pieces I've got 1/5 and 2/3. So the first thing I need to do is I recognize I don't have common denominators at the moment. So I'm going to need to use my fraction flag skills to create common denominators. All right, our least common multiple between 5 and 3 is 15, which is also our quick common denominator. So multiplying by 5 over 5, that's 10. I'm multiplying by 3 over 3, and that's 3. Now remember, I'm subtracting. I do not have enough. I need to take 10/15 away from 3/15. I do not have enough. So I'm going to use the regrouping skills that we've been working really hard on. So I'm going to go ahead and borrow one whole thing, and that's going to become 3 whole things. And when I borrow my one whole thing, I'm going to bring that one whole thing over in the form of 15/15, because those are indeed equivalent. So when I bring this over, I'm going to be dropping it down as 15/15. That now gives me a grand total of 18/15. So this is now 18/15 minus 10/15. And now I do indeed have enough to be able to perform the subtraction. So the difference here is 8/15, and now I've got 3 whole things minus 1 whole thing, which gives me 2 whole things. So my final answer would be 2 and 8/15. So this here, creating the common denominators, this is that one additional step that you already know how to do. That's your fraction flag that you are solid with. And then we're using that regrouping skills where we bring over 1 in the form of 15/15. And sorry, that might be a little difficult to see. Let's do another example. And this time I'm not going to give you the formatting. So we've got 9 2/9. 9 2/9 minus 6 1/3. The first thing I notice is that I do not have common denominators, and I need them. So I'm going to go ahead and right off the bat, I'm going to set up my fraction flag. Okay, my least common denominator between 9 and 3 is 9. So I'm going to multiply by 3/3. And then here I'm going to multiply by 1 over 1, which is just 1, which is 2/9. So I'm trying to take 3/9 away from 2/9. I don't have enough. So I'm going to go ahead and use my regrouping skills, and I'm going to borrow one whole thing. And when I bring that whole thing over, I'm going to bring it over in the form of 9/9. So this now has become 8. And the one thing that I'm bringing over, so I'm bringing 1 over in the form of 9/9. I'm going to drop this down as 9/9. So this now has become, I'm sorry, I'm kind of running into my other problem. This now has become 11/9, and I'm taking away my 3/9. I now can perform my subtraction. 11 minus 3 is 8. So 8/9 will be the fractional piece of my answer. 8 minus 6 is 2. So I'm going to go ahead and slide this over. So my final answer is 2 and 8/9. Let's do a couple more on the back side so we can, just so we feel really solid with this. All right, 15 and